So wired.
Okay.
I have to click go live in the planner as well. Okay, very cumbersome. We are live again. Sorry for the delay, dear scale swappers. So welcome to this AMA session with the great team of Menthol Protocol. Here we have myself, Stan, and Mike from ScaleSwap, and from the Menthol Protocol we have Amir, who is a CMO, and Mo, who is a CEO of this cool project. Cool in what sense, right?
Yeah.
Cool because it's cool, actually. And because it's also cool. So, guys, let's start with introduction to the projects. Who wants to share with us the main idea of the project? Why you started the project? What is the vision?
Awesome. I'll just jump in before Mo, although he's a strong leader of Menthol Protocol. So due to his signal, I'm going to jump in. Basically, in the background, you see making Web3 the first climate positive industry. That's our vision. So what we have before talking about the solution very shortly is the problem of climate crisis, a coordination issue at heart, which needs a two-step approach. Firstly, everybody has to reduce their carbon footprint. That's something which everybody has to do through new processes, innovations, and new behavior. And the second step, and that's what actually Menthol Protocol automates in a very user-friendly way, is calculating the non-avoidable carbon footprint, curating high-impact tokens, and purchasing them. So we're a plug-and-play solution for climate positivity. We've got a wave of refi. So you'll see our pictures with green eyes, representing this new wave of innovation on blockchain. Refi basically allows the tokenization of ethical tokens, which can be environmental tokens, carbon credits, for example, or social tokens. So we give access through Menthol Protocol in a very user-friendly way, where any network, any dApp, any user wallet, and then also non-Web3 B2B and B2C can create an account, measure their carbon footprint, show it in a transparent way, while actually pressing a button and being climate positive forever. So that's basically how easy Mo wanted to have for everybody, coming from he's basically a tech wizard, our block vendor. So yeah, that's in short Menthol Protocol, a plug and play climate positivity as a service solution, evolving to corporate social responsibility as a service.
Yeah, I mean, Amir, you've covered it all. I mean, there's something that I could add, but let's leave for the other maybe questions. But yeah, good job, Amir.
Awesome. Also, we hear you also well, so that's
good. Yeah. So you have two. Okay, I see. There are two Mo's. So one is who is speaking, another one who we are seeing. Thanks to Amir. Thank you for this presentation. We have, of course, several questions to the project. Maybe you can explain the motivation why you have started this. I mean, the real motivation. I know you planned this project for some time. It's not like started 2 weeks ago or so, right? So what was the main motivation to start the project?
Again, before handing over to Mo, I'm just going to tell a few nice words about the sister company of Menthol Protocol, Block Z, which was funded by Mo, by Erhan and Selim, which does provenance tracking of renewable energy credits since 4 years as a profitable software as a service business. So I'll give over to Mo explaining how important sustainability and regeneration is for him. And also for the entire team, all of us, and maybe in the entire world even, right? So I'll just hand over to Mo and let him jump more on the motivation.
Yeah, I mean, for me at least, sustainability is something that's a little bit closer to home. I'm from Somalia. I studied aerospace engineering and I wanted to do my internship there, even though, I mean, I didn't have to. I wanted to see how it was like there. And I was actually responsible for doing, the runway tarmac calculations for the first landing of a Boeing 747 at the airport. So, but it was also very, very, the infrastructure wasn't available. And I learned that they're one of the most at risk for climate change and within the top 10 most affected countries. And this is including Pakistan, which had a huge flood recently, and China as well. So, I mean, this is not, this is a real issue that is affecting developing nations and undeveloped countries without the infrastructure to adapt to extremes of climate change. And for me, at least, I wanted to do something kind of like in this space. And where there was a threat, we saw an opportunity. And we started working on renewable energy traceability. We got funding from Consensus and Draper VC. We've attended a couple of accelerators like University of Berkeley. We got government funding. We got international funding. We recently got a European project to work on a smart campus, and that's for our first company. Our second one, we started thinking, how could we make sustainability embedded in everything or in vogue? Because we have all these Legos today. We have like all these tokenized carbon assets, and in a way, you can think of them as a DeFi Lego that now you can put them into whatever protocol you want to do different things. Maybe you want to buy and sell them. Maybe you want to redeem them. And we noticed that there was something missing for the app developer, user, normal person who wanted to be sustainable. They had to take the extra step of tracking, calculating, and then offsetting their position, right? Or their dApps emissions. And what we thought is, could we make this easier? Could we automate this process? And we found a kind of like, we think a pretty seamless solution to kind of make it easier for everybody. And our goal, our vision at least, is, how many apps do you think are around today, Mike, Stanislav, dApps out there, like so far? It doesn't matter if it's a fork of a fork of a fork. How many dApps do you think were deployed so far?
On Polygon alone, 40 to 50,000.
You mean on a specific blockchain or just cross-chain?
Overall, cross-chain.
Cross-chain. I suppose if you define an app as smart contract, basically, then I suppose maybe several millions. My assumption.
So our goal is to make sure, like the active ones, at least the millions of dApps that are out there today, to make them sustainable and to power the next millions to come. So we're trying to make sustainability part of the DNA, and you just insert that DeFi or Lego block and upgrade your DNA. That's kind of like what we see Menthol Protocol doing for you.
Great.
I'll just add on very shortly something which Mo already explained very nicely, but I think it's just so important. So in every transaction happening out there, in every economic transaction out there, we now have the chance to build in an automated way with Menthol social and environmental positive action into each of those economic transactions. So every transaction on the blockchain, every transaction which may be the sale of a car, of an Audi. So we can attach to literally everything, a carbon credit, a biodiversity credit, a social credit, in a more transparent, in a more verifiable, and a more customer engaging way than existing. So this is where where we see a lovely sweet spot in the non-Web3 and Web3 B2B and B2C.
Great. Indeed, this year is very difficult year, right? It's difficult because of the political situation, because of the crypto winter. At the beginning of this year, refi and carbon credits should be the topic of 2022, if all these events would not occur. Do you expect that this will change in 2023? Do you expect that refi topics, carbon credit topics will be the next big thing? Not only in blockchain, not only there, but overall.
So if I take the question first, basically we look, being at all of those, like I'm the traveling guy, so I'm going through all of those different events and I'm meeting a lot of refi projects, but you just have to like Google it, see the huge communities and power behind refi. So this thing called bear market, we don't even know what that is, because we are just building in peace, everybody towards a common goal in an even more collaborative way than Web3 actually has it. So when talking about this might be the year or next year might be the year of 2023 of refi, I just want to recall one discussion we had with the CMO of a big L1, who's basically saying, hey, I'm interested in onboarding new people. And his bet was that players, gaming, that's what I understood, is actually the biggest adoption way for Web3. But if you take a look at the numbers of people who are environmentally concerned, versus the players on the world. You know that the environmentally concerned people are more. So if we manage in a good and nice and automated way to give direct or more direct access in a more transparent and verifiable way to environmental projects and also to social projects, I believe this can be bigger than the adoption through gaming. So this is like a big bet just to show that there's a huge power behind it. And everybody wants to help. Everybody wants to do something good for the environment or for the social world, just how. So that's what we hope that Web3 can basically, and climate action can accelerate each other in a very strong way. Mo, sorry for jumping in again.
No, thank you. Actually, I wanted to switch to the audio using call dialing in. So thank you very much. You took it away from me, perfect timing. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, I would say, the trends are what they are, but we do know that the single most risk for human extinction is climate change, and there might be trends today that are out there that market trends, bear market, these things, we think of them as kind of like a more of a short-term impact. We're trying to make kind of like a social change behind the way we view sustainability, because I think if people think of it more like an obligation, we can think of it, I think, kind of like an ecosystem. You can actually make money advocating for sustainability. That's how we think of it. Bringing in donations or funding for, let's say, making a protocol sustainable should garner you some incentives, and that's what we hope to create. Incentives for scientists, incentives for researchers, incentives for liquidity providers, incentives for curators of green assets. That's kind of what we think.
And even for the community engaging into the climate action of the B2B companies. So that's very close at heart as well.
I agree.
Awesome. So
I think you're muted, Stanislav.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just remember that I spoke yesterday with a friend of mine who is in agri-tech, and we also discussed carbon credits, and he said that he also see that he's from traditional industry, not Web3 or not blockchain. He said that the carbon credit market will become one of the biggest. He said around 180 billion worth, because it will be, let's say, based on the government decision. So every company will have to deal somehow with it in future. Therefore, I understand if you do this using Web3 technology, you are one of the first guys, right, who are doing this, or are you have competitors?
So like,
okay, so it depends. What we're doing exactly doesn't really have a competitor, unless you think of it kind of like a end-to-end sustainability consultancy that's like automated. You don't really have that. What we're trying to create is something like in the outside of the Web3 world, trying to also create a sustainability engine for even maybe just a small-sized company. So what happens is they can source, track, and report their emissions. They have these, regulation, compliance reports ready, very, very cheap, or even cheaper than buying it themselves. That's kind of like our approach. We want to make deals on behalf of all these different consumers, because we're concentrating this demand, and we can negotiate on their behalf with the suppliers, get them a discount. We share that, and we give them a service. That's kind of like our position, but what we're doing doesn't really have direct competitors, and I think we have an extra advantage with existing, let's say, B2B focused sustainability marketplaces, that we can tap into the Web3 marketplace and potentially get higher quality assets and for cheaper. And I think this is already a possibility today.
Awesome. Thanks, Bo. I just want to jump in for one point, like just for others to refresh. So after Bitcoin, we had DeFi, we had NFTs, we had Metaverse. Now we have regenerative finance, crypto meets climate. So the main projects coming out here in ReFi is like a lot of them are tokenizing, are bringing a whole industry, an entire industry on chain. That's like the carbon credit market, which is, I think, last year mandatory and voluntary 7 billion. That's what the promise is of Web3, bringing automation, bringing security, bringing price discovery, bringing liquidity into a market which is 20 years old, very inefficient, OTC deals, highly intransparent, and basically like it's a very funny market at the end of the day, and but still high volume, because the only way to offset your non-avoidable carbon footprint is through carbon credits. So all of those projects in ReFi mainly tokenize this stuff, tokenize those impact tokens. Like I think there were like over 70 different impact tokens, social and environmental, which we've been seeing, and perhaps many more of which we don't know yet. So Menthol Protocol basically positioned itself not as a tokenizer of carbon credits, but as the best automated let's say middleware to connect the demand side with the tokenizers of impact tokens. So we go actually from a market entry strategy as a platform having at least two sides, the supply side and the demand side, but we also have value-added service providers who bring in machine learning, big data to bring more transparency, more verification in the relationship between the supplier and the demand side. So we catered to as a first step to the supplier side. We told them, hey guys, we want to make it so easy for your customers to buy your stuff in an automated way, one click, so to say, and that's it. Because of this big value we bring of this demand-sided automation tool, we managed to go to suppliers without having customers and still making them use us as their interface towards the customers. So that was like incredible, like fun to talk with those different ReFi, like those competitors, who at the end of the day are all like working with us hand in hand, and we are like just a sales force, a marketing force for them, and aggressively also going on to the demand side. So L1s, L2s, dApps, individual wallet holders, but also Audi, Volkswagen, etc. pp. We'll also go to them sooner or later, rather sooner. So yeah, Stan, you're mute. Yeah.
Sorry again. That's very interesting. Maybe you can deep dive into this topic about your business development approach to onboard customers, to onboard users of the product. I heard that you you really put a focus on this. It's not like about, okay, we create some tool and after the tool is created, we will go for business development, onboard customers, and maybe in 5 years, we will have the first transaction. I see that you do this other way around, right?
Definitely. So basically, we've got like a B2B2C approach when looking at the market. We understand that the value proposition of our B2B companies, maybe Web3 or non-Web3, for climate action is customer engagement, brand positioning. So those are the next to environmental verifiable impact they have on the environment, a positive one. They have those things in mind: customer engagement, brand positioning. So a side product of ours, which is very important though, is the marketing of those positive climate actions, and also engaging the community into the climate journey of our B2B direct customer. So I can jump into that a bit more later on. I guess we'll talk about the tokenomics. So that would be a good place to exemplify how deep we integrate the community into the climate journey of the B2B company. But just like top down, so besides having climate action as a value proposition, where we have this end-to-end solution of automatically calculating on-chain emissions, curating high impact tokens and purchasing them. So that's the climate positivity as a service. We have a second value proposition, which is climate transparency. So eventually, as we anyhow calculate and are creating a methodology while also allowing to use methodologies of other players out there, we anyhow will calculate for different chains and for different dApps the carbon footprint. So the second value proposition of climate transparency holds the the positioning of a search engine. So we will be like dapp.com, for example. You'll be able to go through Ethereum, Polygon, Binance Smart Chain, all the different chains. You can filter towards GameFi, NFT, Metaverse, and ReFi maybe. And on the top, you can filter through our suppliers, Toucan Protocol, Flow Carbon, Nori. So once you press those filters, like in dApp.com, you will see a list of those projects matching this description. So for example, NFT project on Ethereum. So then we'll see a list by default of the different projects out there. And now, in contrast to dApp.com, where we see the most transaction-based projects at the top, so the more transactions to have, the higher you will be at the top. In our case, you will see the most climate positive projects at the top. And the fun thing is that this leaderboard, so to say, will be a smart leaderboard or search engine, because you can press the button climate positivity as a service and move up the leaderboard. We contrast the climate positivity and make marketing heavily around it. So we will celebrate our leaderboard for the different categories every week. We will do lovely marketing campaigns. The third part, which Mo already mentioned, of our value proposition is climate incentivization. So by accessing grants, by talking with, for example, the L1's Polygon and our suppliers, maybe Flow Carbon, we will have like different giveaways, tokens, and also in our tokenomics, some incentives to basically make the community be part of the climate journey of Polygon, for example, by choosing and advocating which carbon credits, which renewable energy credits, which social impact tokens Polygon should choose as L1. And also giving them the opportunity. It's a 100% permissionless system. We didn't talk about the product yet, right? So we deep dive into that soon, but essentially it's a permissionless system where a flexer can come and can offset Polygon by himself by 500%. And we will basically showcase this flexer, this bag holder, who's basically offsetting Polygon, or the Bored Ape Yacht Club. So we have like different ways of creating inbound and also other incentives around climate positivity. So, and therefore, just like a last sentence to our B2B customers, we position ourselves as a plug and play solution, making them the climate leaders in their industry, because they can offer the solution of Menthol Protocol to their entire ecosystem. So not only Polygon will have the individualized, community-driven corporate social responsibility or like environmental impact tokens, but every project on Polygon will also have a cool pool. That's how we call a user account on Menthol, where their community again can go into the settings and into the climate journey of the respective dApp. So yeah.
One question here, Amir. So if you're speaking about Polygon and the projects of Polygon, is this already a science story? So will it be like this? So have you agreed already with Polygon that they use?
We are very happy about like Polygon's excitement. We've met different people from the team, the sustainability team, the marketing team, and we are currently actually doing a go-to-market strategy with them. So that's exciting. We're having basically a specific way of how to approach it. Also a good document which Polygon has, allowing like, I'll be using this definitely from a concept level for different ways of how to do a go-to-market strategy. So with them, we're, for example, doing it. We still have to sign the contract completely, but it's an almost done deal, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, let's see. This is something like thinking about working with them at kind of like infrastructure level. Imagine right now you don't really think about your electricity line or your water line. You have the government or private companies, distribution companies focusing on this. If this is something they want to support for all dApps automatically from the get-go, we can also be in the back working together with ClimaDAO, Polygon, and making sure that the tracking and redemption process occurs, because that's what we do. That's what we automate. So they get that for free anyways, or let's say cheaper than them putting those efforts every year. So it's a win-win there, with including Polygon. But just to add on one thing, we definitely, from your previous question, we just definitely want to make sure that the protocol works, that we have full partners working with us before we do a main release. We're trying to be responsible and ethical here. We want to make sure that everything works and that it's what people want. And so we're just trying to make sure that, initially our plan is to work with the private, on the private beta, get some projects, giving us feedback and, testing it out for a while. Then we want to have more of a wider release, a beta release, but maybe limiting the number of projects. And in this way, we're, initially we're going to be focused kind of like on a top-down strategy. And as soon as we think that it's ready for public launch, then we would then focus on bottom-up strategies, including kind of like our community of mental force members or climate leaders that will come to other communities that they're already a part of and advocate for sustainable action, by donating towards the cool pool they've created. And that person can actually earn some funds by making their ecosystem sustainable, because we will share any earnings we make protocol with them too. And by the way, anything that we earn as a protocol as a result of like B2B efforts, all of it will also be going to the protocol itself. So we don't have like a separate model of revenue earning that will support a separate entity. All of it will be going to the protocol itself again.
Okay, so you thank you more for this explanation. You switch to the product, to how it works. Maybe you can elaborate a bit more, or even showcase a demo. I don't know if
we do have one, but I'm not sure if we thought of that, Amir.
Like frankly, we're just doing a few changes which are like critical for us in the presenting mode. But on YouTube, you can already go and check us out. Basically, we've got like a demo already there, which we didn't advertise yet because we've got a few changes there.
Why don't we throw the link in the chat?
I would say let's not take a look at it now, and we'll have a nicely updated video for showcasting. But you can already check on YouTube, you'll see it. So, and with a lovely explanation of our Ashley.
Maybe if there's somebody in our team in the chat, maybe they could share that video. That would be wonderful.
Okay.
I think Sam wasn't listening.
I'll do that in a second.
You know, it's always interesting to get more handy to understand how it really works.
Okay, but it's super simple. I mean, the idea is. Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, for you, the user, super simple. Just copy paste your addresses, deposit some supported funds, and forget. You know, really easy. For the
I think signal got cut off for a second.
Can you hear me? Testing.
Now again, yeah.
Okay, so on the back side, like in terms of like how it works, that's a different topic. But for the user, there's a couple of things that you could be able to do. You could create a cool pool which has some addresses like you'd like to track, some either externally owned addresses or some smart contract addresses, and those will be the ones that we'll be tracking on, depending on what network you're on. And then you can either deposit funds that are not associated to a lending pool or ones that are, so you can earn interest or yield on top of your funds. So the goal being you can automate your sustainability needs with a kind of like a top-up card. But if you use lending-powered, let's say cool pools, the idea is if you deposit enough, your interest might be enough to pay for your sustainability emission.
I think your signal is cutting off.
Oh, so sorry for the audio issues. So sorry. I'm using the phone dialing in.
No worries.
But, yeah, sorry. Maybe you want to take it away.
I'll just summarize shortly. Yes, exactly. So what Mo was saying, that it's so easy to create a cool pool which represents any network, any dApp, or any individual user wallet. You simply copy paste your contract. Cool pool. So we have your carbon footprint pool. Secondly, your sustainability setting.
Right.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. You still hear me though, or not really?
With interruptions, right? With interruption.
Oh, I'm very sorry.
So there is a
could that be a Zoom issue? Interesting, because we both are having the same issue at the same time.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Should we give it another try? Is that better now?
I think so. Let's try. So we heard
what's the alternative?
Cool pool, and the cool pool is attached to the to a dApp. The cool pool represents the carbon footprint of a dApp, right?
So the cool pool represents a user account on Menthol Protocol, which can represent a dApp, a network, or an individual user wallet. And this cool pool you just copy paste the smart contract addresses into the cool pool as a unique identifier, but also for us to measure the carbon footprint data. Then you, as an admin, choose the setting of this cool pool. Do I want to be 100% carbon neutral or 1000% climate positive? So that's the user setting, which is essential, and then you add to the school pool. So when you add liquidity to the school pool, you'll have, not sure if you hear me, guys. Hello, friends. Hello, test, test.
I can hear you.
It seems like connect.
The last second, can you hear me?
Test, test.
Seems like all of us has able also. So
Friends, I can hear you now again. Or I just
Yeah.
yeah.
Can you hear me?
yes, Dan, I can hear you.
It's like
I think
I can
yeah,
hear also everyone.
cool.
Sorry, friends, for asking.
But
You can.
I don't know. What do you want to do? I can hear you. So why don't we ask each other some questions? Maybe. We continue the AMA.
Sure. So
yeah.
Basically, I think, or like I was cut off at the cool pool and what the cool pool basically looks like. Shall we jump into that again?
I think
I think connection restored, right? So it's working again. So we can enable. It was a glitch of Zoom and YouTube probably.
Okay. Don't worry. We let the AMA for a second. We asked each other. We tried to continue off of intent, but no problem. All right. So I think we were on the cool pool topic. Just think of it kind of like, it's a list of addresses and also some conditions you want, kind of like how much percentage, how sustainable do you want to be? Like, do you want to overcompensate? Do you want to be climate positive? Do you want to be climate neutral? So you can like dial that in with the percentage. You can add addresses, so kind of like tracking these addresses for transactions and emissions, and then you'll have some analytics related to that emissions and offsetting and some other stuff like that. And you can accept donations from people. You can assign people that are going to be getting rewards for helping advocate for donations, kind of like a team, so that you can create kind of like you don't only incentivize the creator, you also incentivize the team behind it that is kind of like advocating for this cool pool. Yeah, I mean, that's early on what you can do. Later on, we're hoping that the funds will be connected to lending markets so that you can also earn yield on top of your deposited tokens. Because while they're sitting there, why not, why lose that delta, right? Why lose that extra interest that you could receive? So that's something we're going to be enabling pretty soon as well after the beta.
I see, I understand. Guys, I also see the time is running as hell, and we have so many questions also from the community. Therefore, we might start, right, Mike, also with community questions.
Yeah. Actually, there are a lot of questions, both on Twitter and in the chat. And I was trying to pick the best ones, but some of them you already asked. So anyway, let's start, and just forgive me if I will repeat something.
No worries.
So there are a lot of questions. First of all, about your token. Can you talk about the functions of Cool Token in the Menthol Protocol ecosystem and what the advantages it will provide to its holders?
Awesome. So I'll just jump in more, then you can take it. Is that okay?
Sure.
So then you
Yeah,
can
sure.
have it back. Okay. So basically, once our token is out next year, which we plan on Republic's token sale platform, for instance, we will have a 100% permissionless system. So the Cool token will be an access token. If you want to activate the Cool pool of Polygon, you'll have to stake a Cool token. The more transactions you want to offset, the more Cool tokens you'll have to stake. So in contrast to a normal software as a service business where you charge 10 euro a month, we have a staking access model where you purchase tokens and stake them to unlock the Cool pool. Also, we have a quality assurance function. So if there's a problem on the supply side, then we have the Cool tokens, which we can basically use, or the suppliers can use that to basically show their commitment towards high quality carbon credits. And then we also have a governance side, which Mo was mentioning, which is at our heart, also being a foundation from day one. So utility is access, governance, and quality assurance. But there are a few more different ways to say it. So Mo, I'll just jump over to you. This is how I actually pitch it. So happy to have it contrasted by you.
Of course. I mean, I would also add that it's in essence also not just an access token, but a work token, because I think what we're going to be doing is, as a protocol level parameter, we're going to be setting a certain dollar amount figure per transaction denominated in Cool token. So it's going to act as both as an access token, but also as kind of like a work token based on your monthly volume. So it's going to be a small fee, but it's going to also hopefully scale for bigger projects. At least it should scale. That's kind of like the approach we see. Other than that, I think what we see, other than the way that we capture value, because I think the way what Amir mentioned was about how we captured the value. In terms of how we also distribute value within our ecosystem, we have curators, which are responsible for making sure our green tokens are high quality, right? Or the ones that are on the list have issues, then we need them removed. So people can make proposals to add or remove green tokens, update, blockchain emission calculators, methodologies that we're sourcing from people that are providing liquidity or helping our Cool reserve, stay liquid and also, enough to, let's say, service, the needs of consumers. All this needs to redistribute the value that we have captured, and that's also the mechanism which we use for kind of like incentivizing, the action that we would like to see. I would say token system is pretty straightforward, I believe. Basically, the users and suppliers win with supplier having more constant demand and automated demand, like a demand that's recurring. They don't really have that today. They have to get their sales team on it. We're giving them recurring a subscription model now, which doesn't exist for suppliers in this space. So we're also adding on top of that innovations on the payment settlement layer, making it easy for consumers to be sustainable. Imagine your savings account automatically paying for your Netflix, subscription, the interest, so you don't have to think about it. Imagine that simple. Would Netflix really lose that many customers if it was automatic? Interesting. So we're making innovations on the financial side, and on top of that, we're also making it super simple to kind of like contribute. I think the token, since it's adding value and cheaper for consumers, adding value for suppliers, and the fact that it's super cheap to use, I think staying as an access token and just growing is kind of like the model we want to take. And I think soon we're going to release an open source tokenomics model on Causal. It's a cool tool to kind of like, see how things work. We're going to share that, and you guys can pick it apart and help us improve it in the next months.
Also, just to mention one very interesting point, we were talking about the B2B2C approach, which we had, so that we understand that our B2B customers want to include their customers into this whole journey. So there are 3 ways of unlocking a cool pool. First of all, we've got a set of allocations for ecosystem incentives, so we can unstake the cool pool of Polygon or of Audi, for example, if we would win Audi over. So the second option is that they themselves stake the cool token. So that might be Polygon having cool token anyhow, so they'll just unlock their cool pool. Now, what we discuss with our partners is that we do not want us or them to do it. We want their community to unlock the cool pool. So by their community, basically, let's say the Polygon community, purchasing cool token, unlocking the cool pool of Polygon, and then we will have a revenue sharing model with them. We will showcase the big stakers of the cool pools, of the cool tokens in the cool pool, being basically let's say the initiator of this cool pool. So also with like multiplicators, we can do that. So for example, a marketing company we work with can also basically stake or like activate many cool pools by staking cool tokens into those cool pools, making it active, and they will have their marketing sign up on those cool pools, which is like very interesting also for the marketing approach and for the community approach. So that's just like one small mentioning over here.
Cool. Very, very extended and great answers. So Mike, do we have something? I mean, we have something else, but unfortunately time is running.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for your answer. So another question, I think you covered it a bit, but I see that there are too many questions on this topic. So maybe let's repeat again. We see that you expect new partnerships with different platforms and protocols. How can other platforms and projects benefit from Menthol? What is your unique selling proposition to them? What is their benefits from it?
In short, everybody becomes a climate leader who works with us and can offer this to their entire ecosystem in a more transparent, verifiable, and customer engaging way than existing currently, by tapping into those tokenized refi projects in a no-coded, automated way. So we make climate leaders in a very easy way.
I would add on top of that, I would ask, like, who are you? So if you are an investor, here's a cheap way to make your portfolio seem super sustainable, and the brand power you gain from being sustainable, and the marketing power you can make, it's pretty valuable. And that concept worked with investors we talked with. If you are a dApp developer, either you're moral, ethical, and you see that the world is having impact, even if it's not that much compared to other sources, but you want to do your part, this is how you can do it in a simple way without having to think about it all every day. If you are a user, then the way that it could impact you is maybe you want to see the applications that maybe the accounts that you're using, you want to make sure that they're sustainable. So I would say, what are the benefits depends on who we're speaking to. But I would say, usually speaking, companies, dApp developers, and investors, you see a huge value in being sustainable, not only from a brand approach, but also from partnerships and regulatory approach. It's more and more these days, especially in the Web2 side of things, companies have to be sustainable so that they can get certain grants, tenders, so that they can apply for tax breaks or subsidies. They need to reach a certain level of renewable energy usage or emission, either being emission free or reducing their emission to some certain extent. And that market is only growing. The restrictions are getting higher. The cost of sustainability assets are getting more. And both the market size and the revenues increase. So for us, we're, I think, positioned well. It's just I think, super important for us to kind of like, be there kind of like quickly. And I think the people that want to get involved today, they can apply. We have, I believe, maybe somebody in our team can share it in the chat. There's this, they can apply to be an early a member of both Menthol Force, which is you can find different ways to contribute to the ecosystem. And also there's a way to apply to be an early COPL. So if you're a project developer, if you're a dApp developer, reach out to us. And hopefully somebody can share it in the different places that this live stream has been shared on.
Awesome,
okay.
Thanks.
Awesome, yeah, thanks. So did I get it correct that you have some kind of ambassadorship program for early users as well? Okay.
Exactly. We already have something running, and we call it Menthol Force. You guys can Google it, and hopefully somebody in chat can share, the links.
Yes. We'll share it on the YouTube. No problem. We'll do that.
Okay. Okay. Great. Because there were also a few questions about it, and even there was one guy who copied these questions multi times. So I believe you should expect some upcomers for your ambassadorship program. So
we love passionate people, so that person would love to hear from you.
Yeah, great.
Like we call it a contributor program, and just like to be more precise, and basically we want to have people across different units, from marketing, from engineering, from environmental, and have like a high quality set of people helping us build up a Menthol Protocol. Yeah, so that's one thing, but we will open more and more towards B2C, and of course to our community, which is as discussed in our last week's Twitter space, the most important value, or like let's say value you can say is community. Like when we talked about different, let's say, value propositions out there, community is at heart. It's like all about saving the world for the next communities and the next generations to come, right? So naturally we are 100% inclusive and have the community at heart.
Okay, great. Do we have time for one more question?
I think so. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's 5 minutes. We can put 5 questions.
Okay, sure. There is one more question from a user with the nickname MyFam. What is your current roadmap status? Has Menthol Protocol been successful in reaching all targets from your roadmap? Please give us a brief roadmap update.
Oh wow, MyFam, you're like a project manager. You're scaring me right now. I feel like it's a weekly report I'm giving to MyFam, and he's going straight at it. Okay, where are we? Happy to say we've conducted kind of like our internal alpha. We're now doing the testing for it, and hopefully we'll be announcing some information about like the private partner program being live in the next week or two. In terms of hitting all our roadmap, I think I don't even remember all our roadmap miles because we rewrote it so many times and changed it so many times.
I actually
over,
just made an update on
something.
I could share a screen and like arrows and in progress at the special points. But.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say one thing. Depends which version of the roadmap you're thinking, but usually we hit our milestones. But the roadmap milestones usually try to be aggressive, so it's normal if you don't hit them. Although we work hard, we have a lot of smart people that are working really hard to do what we do. But yeah, I mean, as soon as we launch, that also will be open source. So what we are planning to do as a protocol is have kind of like all our decision making and brainstorming more open. So everything we have on Miro, Docs, and so on, we're planning to share them as soon as we launch publicly, and and maybe even before that, at least when it comes to product. So we can have, if you want to get involved in product planning, development, or you want to have comments or feedback, please follow us, and we'll try to get in touch with you so you can contribute there. But sign up for Menthol Force and say you are love a product. my path.
We'll also have a Twitter space on Friday, and happy to elaborate more on that. Mike, Stan, feel free to shoot out like 2 questions if you manage it. We'll answer them shortly, and then we'll be looking forward to follow up on our Friday's Twitter space. Every Friday we have it, so happy to have more questions there. We'll talk about economics in specific this Friday.
Definitely. I hope I can find the time and we'll join this. And in Twitter space, everyone can join, right? So not
exactly.
everyone from
That's our weekly community touch, which we have.
So guys, it's very good opportunity for you to join Friday on Twitter space for Menthol Protocol and to ask any questions directly with your voice, without this hiding, without bots, etc. Please join. I think one last question, right? We can.
Yeah, sure. Just trying to pick the best one. Okay. What is your plan to onboard the initial liquidity needed for your pools, and what benefits if user want to be provider of the liquidity? Yes, the question from.
Value of liquidity is clear. If you have a use for the liquidity, the more liquid it is, the better, right? I mean, if you in our case, having liquidity early on, of course, is something we want to incentivize for sure, especially because we don't want, for example, if there's, we don't want market manipulation to be a thing, because when you have a liquid market manipulation is a clear thing. So we will be working with the community. We'll be working with our, we've been talking with market makers. There are some corporations which help for a fee to kind of like add that additional liquidity to make the price more stable. We're thinking about these options, but we're not at a point, I think, today to talk about the numbers, how exactly we're going to be incentivizing, let's say, stable liquidity, because that's the thing we need, right? You want it to be cool token to be liquid. We also want it to be available on different networks so people can actually use it, right? And that's our goal. I mean, of course, we would love the value to go up, but our first goal, I think, is to make sure the protocol is successful, that all the stakeholders are extracting value from it, either sustainability or financial, and that we're doing things responsibly. So making sure that it's secure. That's our initial goal, but liquidity providers are very important. So we'll, of course, support them any way we can.
Also, like just to mention, those cool pools basically hold liquidity of companies, right, wanting to reach their targets. So when talking with companies, we're looking at their marketing budget very fast, because that's already available. And instead of doing some bullshit marketing, if I can say it this way, we can do regenerative marketing. We can, as mentioned, build social and environmental impact into every economic transaction. So that's what we're heading for, specifically. Like when talking with non-Web3 B2B companies, that's where the liquidity comes from. Then marketing budgets are full, as always. The other point when talking with L1s and dApps, they've got their huge treasury sitting around. Now they can stake it into the cool pool once it has been ethically and responsibly tested, right, as Mo explained. But once we are there, they can put like their nice treasury into the cool pools and just use the generated interest to offset and to be true climate leaders. So there'll be different also incentives around that. We can also talk about that more on Friday, as I think we're closing the time over here already. But great question.
Okay. Well, guys, thank you very much for this. I mean, I believe we will see each other a bit more often in the next weeks, right? And
vote for us, friends, vote for us.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, refi might sound not so sexy, right, on the first glance, because it's not about earning immediately, but I believe it's very important thing, not only because of the ecology, but also because of the economical factor, because governments will press companies to upset money into the refi. And therefore, what are you doing is, from my perspective, I wish you, of course, best of luck, but it's very important.
Thank you.
And also in the early stage.
Just to mention very shortly, BlackRock CEO already said last year the next 1,000 unicorns will be climate tech, and BlackRock is pushing and behind all of those companies, right? They can push very badly if they want. So it's also perhaps maybe an amazing business opportunity to come from this point, although this isn't, we want to make it affordable, accessible, and integrate into everybody's life to be regenerative. That's where we come in and stand from. Of course, also having a business model around it.
Okay, great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we built cool tech so that we can make the world cooler. Anybody can plug in, full green DNA into their project. It's automated. It's no brainer, no code integration. What are you guys waiting for? And I would say for most project developers, the cost is worth the marketing and the brand power that you're building.
Exactly.
So,
we'll do that. We'll do 10 times the marketing they do with their budget. Hopefully. With the right partners, right? And we've got some juicy partners coming also in from our supply.
And whether we hit the bolts or not, we're going to support everybody out there, and happy to make them sustainable too. So,
great.
We might even work with ScaleSwap, make their IDO the first, green,
sure. We will definitely
cool IDO,
We will definitely explore this. I mean, it's also no-brainer for us since we are planning to work very closely with you. Guys, thank you very much for this presentation, for your honest answers. I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.
Let's chat soon.
Thank you so much. It was fun. And hoping to talk to you guys again and, getting more questions from the community. Thank you, everybody.
And community, please share this video and view this.
That would be awesome. Thanks for your support. And thank you to ScaleSwap team and to the amazing ScaleSwap community. We are friends since a long time, although maybe you don't know that yet. But yeah, so that's